So I did that whole intro and y'all saw my mouth moving, but didn't hear a word I said because my mic was muted. And that's terrible. But I'm going to say it again. Hi, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Coffee and Tea. I am exceptionally happy, giddy, excited, all of those bubbly, happy words because of the person sitting next to me. Y'all see my parental unit. Uh-oh. My auntie said, well, hopefully it's unfrozen now because it looked like everything's good. Okay, good. All right, sweet. Hey, every day out there in social media land. All right. Uh, welcome again. Welcome, everybody. Go ahead, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Welcome to this edition of Coffee and Tea. This is going to be a good one, y'all, because my special guest is my mama, my parental unit. Those of you that know that I call her that, but in the real world, her name is Jonna Harrison. So welcome, Jonna Harrison, to the show.
Thank you.
Oh wait, see, I was prepared to do this, but then I wasn't prepared to do this. So wait a minute, I got to do that. I gotta do that properly, cause that welcome is not good enough for my mama. So again, welcome John Harrison to the show. I'm gonna try not to be a clown today, y'all. But we're going to be talking on the topic of blind but not broken, and she kind of helped me come up with the title there. So we just want to say hey to our fans out there. So hey, Sister Karen, and your sister Tony is watching.
Hi, Tony.
And then here we go. Brother Tony is out there watching. So guys, we thank you for joining. Go ahead and share so we can get some other people up here and on the show on the mic. So we're going to jump into some questions. So many of you out there know that my mother is visually impaired.
Blind.
Okay. Can I don't have to use the PC term for it?
Blind.
Okay, blind. But many of you may not know why she's blind. So, Mom, why don't you tell the people what it is that you have and what that means?
Well, I have something called retinal pigmentosis. And what that means is there are little cones that are connected to nerves where the light travels.
Mm-hmm.
And where in my retina, those cones, some of the cones did not, they weren't there. They didn't come into full growth or whatever when I was born. So light doesn't flow through my eyes correctly.
Okay.
So that's a lame explanation for it.
So, can you make out like facial features, or do you just kind of see like shapes and things?
When I was a kid, I had a lot of usable vision.
Okay.
So I was reading printed books, large print books. I ran around, did everything normal kids did. I just looked a little clumsy. Um, I don't have any depth perception. So what that means is that I can't always tell how close or how far away an object is.
Okay.
So sometimes it made me, I would run into a fence because I thought it was further away, or or trip over things and stuff like that because you couldn't tell the distance. So as you get older, everybody's vision changes.
Mm-hmm.
So now there's light perception or shapes. I've lost most of the color. Being able to identify colors, I don't do anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's mostly light perception. There are days when I have a little bit of good, if the lighting's right or the sun is on the right place and God is in all his houses, that sometimes a little bit more will come through. But for the most part, it's
Did you
shadows.
just say if God is in all his
All
houses,
his houses.
do he leave the light on for you?
Sometimes he does.
So, Mom, do you have any peripheral vision?
I do not.
Okay. So, y'all don't be running up on my mother on the sides because she can't see you.
Don't wave.
Don't wave. She don't see that
know.
either.
I won't know.
So, church folks, don't be standing up there at the pulpit and like waving, "Hey, Sister Jonna." She don't see that. Okay. All right. So, Ma, you talked about being born with this. So let's talk about what growing up was like for you. Like, are you the only blind person in the family?
Growing up, I was.
Okay.
I do have an aunt that I believe has the same disease.
Mm-hmm.
But it's so weird. So I had a regular childhood, but I felt like I was always the secret that nobody talked about.
Like
because nobody ever talked about the fact that I couldn't see well.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was never a topic in the house. I knew it, but I don't know if anybody else around me knew it. And my parents never talked about it. I think they were all in denial. When my mother was told that I would probably never graduate from school, I would probably be totally blind by the time I was 21, and I would probably be home with her for the rest of my life.
Oh, Lord Jesus.
So I don't think there were very high expectations.
Okay.
But in my mom's defense, I think she thought if I deny it, we'll just go along as though everything is normal.
Mm-hmm.
And I did all the regular things that all kids do.
Okay.
I rode a bike, ran into things, but I rode a bike.
I can't imagine you riding no bike.
I did. My father taught me how to ride a bike. We had skateboards, we had snowboards. I mean, we had all those things. We had a organ where I played, and we had music.
What?
Yes. Well, if one got something, we all got it. So
you had an organ, Aunt Tony had one,
I think
and then Aunt Carol had one.
I think we all had them.
Oh, wait, Aunt Tony said y'all broke a glass table?
I did, because I ran. Now, my mother told me.
Come on, Tony, let out all the secrets.
No running in the house.
Okay.
So, of course, for me, there's this glass table. Well, when the lighting is right, I didn't see the table there. So I fell, hit the table, did not have a scratch on me.
What?
It would have probably been better if I was on the floor bleeding to death. But I did not have a scratch on me.
I cannot. Was this also the same time that y'all set the kitchen on fire?
No, that was later.
Okay, all right. All right. So you said you had a normal childhood. So how about like your friendship relationships? Like I know God, Mommy Carla,
I don't think they knew.
Okay.
I mean, at one point I don't know what was going on. I think there were moments when I was growing up that I did not feel as though I fit in.
Okay.
Because I knew there was something wrong. I knew I didn't see things where everybody else saw it. But nobody ever talked about it. So there were times I felt lost.
Mm-hmm.
So I took a large amount of pills. I don't even know if I was trying to kill myself.
Mm-hmm.
I think I was just trying to get somebody to notice,
pay attention
to who I was.
Mm-hmm.
So I did that and I had some therapy and what Tony said.
No, it's your pastor that said that he's gonna wave at John Harrison this Sunday morning.
But I think I always felt that way. Though the outside was I'm doing all those things, I'm getting in trouble, I'm doing things everybody else does.
Mhm.
I snuck out the house, I did all kind of crazy things. But there was always those times when I felt like I wasn't equal to everybody else, and didn't feel from my parents that there were any expectations of
Okay.
me going anywhere.
Okay.
So
So like how did you like process like those emotions? Like you didn't have an outlet to kind
I
of
was bad. I got in trouble all the time.
what you mean you got in
I
trouble?
got in trouble all the time. I was sneaking out. I was
Like climbing out the window,
yeah,
sneaking
yeah,
out?
yeah, climbing out the window.
Lord Jesus.
My father came home early one time and I had somebody in the house. Um, I was always something was always going. I was always doing stupid stuff at school, but I did things at school because no one ever did anything for me. Like I didn't have any vision teachers. I didn't have anything special.
Okay.
And nobody paid me any mind. I did a lot of activities, like I sung in a choir. Choir was the greatest thing. I love to sing. So I sung in a choir. I did a couple of plays. I was in a talent show and we won when I was in junior high school for dancing. It was three of us and we did a dance and we won. We won $7 whole.
I know that's right. Seven
So
whole dollars in the
yes,
60s was a lot of money.
yes, we won. Each one of us got $7.
Okay.
So I did those things. I mean, but neither one of my parents ever came to anything. I
Okay.
don't think they came to anything for any of us, but it never came to anything. I was in plays in elementary school. I sung. The choir's always doing things and going away. And I just never felt like I had anybody support
Okay.
in anything that I did. So it was just very weird.
Okay. One of the questions out here says, "What are the sibling order and span between y'all?"
My oldest sister is 4 years older,
That's my aunt Tony,
and my younger sister is 18 months
younger than
younger.
you.
Yes,
So that's my aunt Carol. So my mom is the middle child.
yes. And I was told that when my mother brought my younger sister home, that I would not speak to her or the baby.
Well, at least I know where I get it from when you brought the light
Yes, my
skinned
mother
child
told
from.
me I was not happy. Someone else came along.
Look, Aunt Tony said, me being 4 years old, I had my own problems.
Yeah, she wouldn't ride on the horse that her father bought her for Christmas.
Like a real horse?
No, it was a rocket.
Oh.
It was a rocket horse.
I mean,
and every time they put her on, she'd jump off.
y'all lived in the country, so like
We did not. We lived in D.C. at the time she got this horse.
Oh, right.
I was like maybe 2, and Carol was probably still a baby. It's a movie around here somewhere that Tony would not sit on this darn horse.
And Tony probably has the movie. So y'all, my aunt Tony is like the keeper of all photos. Like, so just some fun facts about my mom and at least my aunt Tony. I don't know about my aunt Carol, but they did like catalog like modeling work. Like there are literal pictures of them like posing in catalogs. My mama was like, well, my mom and my aunt, they're all really pretty, light skinned, light skinned.
It was Montgomery
In the Montgomery wards, for those of you that know what Montgomery wards is. So there are pictures and stuff. So like some of the stuff, like when I look back at pictures of my mom, you couldn't tell me that my mom had no vision issues. I couldn't tell back then. So
I don't think anybody could tell, because back then, when kids who had vision, you were encouraged you were encouraged not to learn Braille because you had vision. You were encouraged not to carry a cane because you had vision. So they wanted you to use the vision that you had, even if it wasn't very useful at
Mm.
sometimes. They still insisted that you now. I mean, like they did some other things. They taught me how to type using the shades, so so I wouldn't look at my fingers. Couldn't see me anyway, but I typed. I learned how to knit. Because in elementary school sometimes they wouldn't let me go out for recess
Because they didn't want you to fall.
but they made me take gym. It didn't make any sense. Um, so for the most part, I had a very good. I had no complaints. We were very middle class.
Mm-hmm.
We had anything and everything because my father got us anything and everything.
Mm-hmm.
We had nice things. We never had to worry about going hungry or anything like that. So, for the most part, we went on vacations every summer, went on vacations, or I went spend time on Eastern Shore or in DC with my grandparents. So we were always doing something. So for the most part, I had a really good childhood. I just, there was always that lingering thing that I just wasn't like everybody else.
So what's something that people often get wrong or assume about living without sight? Like you think people think about you or what they assume or stuff like that you wish people understood better.
I'm not deaf.
She blind, y'all. She not deaf. She can hear.
Or people change how they talk to you.
Mm-hmm.
Like people that was now I don't want to talk about my new creation people, but sometimes when they found out, because at first nobody knew,
mm-hmm.
but when they found out, I had people come over and say, "Sister Jonna, it's me," and I was like, "Oh, okay." And I mean, like their honey baby words came out
Lord
as opposed to, "Hey, Sister Jonna," I talk to you all the time. I never have you come close to me.
Mm-hmm.
So those are the blind people don't have super hearing as much as Kristen would like.
I beg to differ.
To differ with that.
I begs to differ with the super hearing. My mama would hear. Now it wasn't me that said it a lot of times, but my sister would say stuff underneath her breath, and she'd be around the corner from my mother, and my mother would hear every word. So
I think it's a mother.
Okay.
Most mothers have good hearing.
Whatever you say.
It's because I can't depend on my vision, mm-hmm. So I have to depend on my hearing. I have to depend on my touch. I have to depend on my sense of smell. I have to depend on all those things to make up for the fact that I can't see. So I'm just using them mm-hmm. more frequently than other people use it. So trying to think what else that we're helpless. I've had people tell Kristen, "Does your mother work?" Why wouldn't it work? There's they assume I don't work. I've worked at my job for 25 years.
Have you been in business that long?
Been in business for 25 years. Okay. They was like, "Oh, you have children? How did you raise children?"
Oh, we're gonna get into that.
I mean, I just think they think blindness means I'm not intelligent. I can't take care of myself. I had people say, "How do you put food in your mouth?" Well, the same way you put food in your mouth. You pick up the fork and you put it in your mouth. But I've had those kind of questions, and it just, it's just beyond some of the questions that I've had.
Yeah, people are weird.
Yes.
And some of that comes from the fact that people haven't ever really encountered or been close to somebody who's really had some kind of physical limitation.
No.
It's normal for me because I grew up with this. So it doesn't, like, the fact that my mom can't see something or the fact that she occasionally will walk into a wall or something like that, like, that's not unusual for me. And some people are like, "Chris, your mother just, she be all right. Like, she just walking around. Like, I don't know what you want me to tell you. She got to figure it out," kind of stuff. So I get some of the apprehension, but it's best to ask, yes. Ask the questions. One of the things that I learned with kind of being able to, my mom and we'll get into kind of her work history at BISM. One of the things that she had an opportunity to do was to do summer camp with kids and teenagers. And one of the things that they would do is they would take them out and like take them to the airport and let them, show them how to walk around, and show them, but y'all know what I mean.
We don't change words. We don't change words.
Okay. Show them how to walk around the airport. Yeah. But those individuals that had a little more vision than the other students, you had to wear sleep shades. So whenever I went somewhere with them, like I had to wear the sleep shades too. They gave me a little stick and
a cane.
Thank you, Mother. They gave me a cane. And they gave me sleep shades, and I had to participate too. So, and a lot of folks feel uncomfortable seeing it because they don't encounter it on a regular basis. And I think that speaks to some of the things that you say people assume it's because they just don't encounter it on a regular basis.
And they imagine how they would feel. Mm-hmm. They'll close their eyes and say, "Can I figure out where my mouth is on my face?"
Like try it.
Try. Close your eyes. Where's your mouth? Oh, it's right there. Mm-hmm. So, and the fear. I think I read somewhere on a survey that being blind was the number one fear people had. Below, it was higher on the totem pole than death. They weren't as afraid of death, but they were more afraid of being blind.
And I think it's interesting because these are people who have vision.
Yes.
And you go from having it to not having it. Yes. I think for some people that is a big fear.
It is a life altering. It's life altering mm-hmm. because you lose the independence that you had. Mm-hmm. And I never, when people come to my job and they've lost vision, I never tell them that they're going to get the life back that they had, because they'll never have it.
Yeah.
But you can have a life that's enjoyable. We could do lots of wonderful things. I've been rock climbing. I've been whitewater rafting. I've done a lot of things that some sighted people haven't done.
You right about it. Because you ain't finna get me rock climbing nothing. Rock climbing or rock on the ground.
And I love camping. I used to go camping all the time. I've been fishing. I do all those things. Now, I don't do them the same way somebody does who has sight, but I can find enjoyment in doing things the way I have to do them and mm-hmm. still enjoy the thing. I tell people all the time, they say, well, should I say that you watch TV, but you don't watch TV? I do watch TV. I watch it in a different way. I have to listen to it. I have to have it described to me sometimes, but I still watch it. I'm just watching it non-visually. Mm-hmm. I don't change we tell people, don't change your vocabulary. I went to see a movie. I don't have to say I went to listen to a movie. That doesn't even sound right. But, I went to see a movie. It's okay to say I went to see something or watched it or, I'm showing it to you. Just don't show me no pictures. Don't send me pictures.
Now, when we go to the movies, like I am for the most part your movie partner.
Yes, because I won't go and get the earphones that sometimes yes. can describe.
So my mom will lean over and be like, "Chrissy, what's happening right now?" And then I'm trying to find the most descriptive ways of telling her.
And Miss does a fabulous job.
Aunt V and my mom are Netflix binge buddies is what I would like to call it. What's the thing y'all was watching Sunday?
Oh, what was it? I don't know. It was I can't even remember.
Far From Home.
Yeah, Far From Home.
Whatever.
It was. Yeah,
it's something with home in it.
Yeah, it was a Hallmark movie that now.
It's Hallmark. Yeah. So something happened to this girl, and she keep jumping in the water and going back and meeting her family and stuff like that. Yeah. She time traveling by jumping in the water, y'all. It's on Netflix. Go watch it. But it doesn't have. So one of the things that you have on some programs is what's called audio descriptions. Yeah. And basically what audio descriptions do is in the moments where there's movement happening, but there's no dialogue, it will explain to you what the person is doing. So if I'm going and picking up a glass, it'll say, main character goes to reach for for glass and drops it on the ground and it shatters. That's what the audio descriptions do. So for someone who can't see it, it gives them the opportunity to, on the canvas of their imagination, be able to see the picture that is also happening on the screen, in their mind. So it's good stuff.
And most theaters have them now.
Yeah. You just, sometimes, to be completely honest, it is a hassle to get them to give you the stuff.
Yes.
Because again, not to say that blind people don't go to the movies, but certain movie theaters may not encounter heavier blind traffic than other locations. So for locations that don't really do it all the time, they don't know where it is. They're not charged, so then you can't use them. When we go to the movies, we just go to the movies. Yes. I already am prepared that she gonna lean in at some point and ask me, Kristen, what's going on?
Unless it's a movie, I read the book. And I tell her.
So and prime example, I was not into the whole Twilight situation.
Or Hunger Games.
What?
It was Hunger Games.
No, it was Twilight. We went to go see
the. Yeah, but we saw Hunger Games too.
We did.
And what's the singer's name?
Lenny Kravitz.
Lenny Kravitz. He was playing a part, and this girl was in this tube, and she was getting ready to go somewhere. And there was a scene, and I went, and Chris was like,
"What's getting ready to happen? What's getting ready to happen?" Like she already covering up. She covering her eyes, y'all. So I knew something terrible was getting ready to happen, but I'm like, "Why are you already doing it, and it hasn't even happened in the movie yet?"
Because I knew it was going to
Yeah.
happen.
So it's an experience. Yes. And even when we go out, like I poke fun at the fact that my mom can't see, because sometimes it's funny to me. And I do it in front of people. My mom, we've been doing this a long time. So like my mom don't mind. She got thick skin. So, I might say something to her, and the people in front of us, we went to go get the phone.
Yes.
That time. And I was messing with her. I was like, would you come on sign this piece of paper? No, sign it right here. And the guy was like, man, I was like, she can't see it anyway. So I'm just trying to get her. And he's like so uncomfortable. And we over here just giggling and laughing because it's funny to us. But that's just one of the many dynamics of our relationship. So let's talk about that, Mom. So one of the things that you said is that people said that you would probably be totally blind by the time you were 21, yes. But you had me at 18. Yes. So let's talk about being blind and raising children, and what were some of the biggest challenges that you had, and then what were some of the biggest joys that you had as a parent raising two completely different types of children.
Well, fortunately, there was a lot of support. Your aunt spoiled you.
Which aunt?
Tony. Your aunt Tony.
That's because she's my favorite. She's my funty.
And you had your grandmother there who also spoiled you.
Stop it.
I guess some of the things was like, if you had a fever at that time, there were no talking thermometers. They weren't the technology that it is now. So I had to go by my feel, or you weren't behaving in a way that was normal for you. Mm-hmm. I had to use other senses to tell what was wrong. So sometimes I felt a little inadequate, that if you were sick, I wouldn't be able to know what was wrong.
Gotcha.
If you were running off, sometimes I couldn't see. So you had bells on your shoes all the time.
Bells?
Yeah, little bells on your shoes.
What kind of junk?
So that I would know where you was.
Put a cowbell around my feet.
It was on your. It was just a little teeny.
What kind of junk that I'm finding out on my own show?
But again, at that time, I did have a lot of usable vision.
Mm-hmm.
But there were times when I couldn't read directions on a medicine bottle. Mm-hmm. I couldn't measure out the proper dose to give you if you needed Tylenol. Okay. There were lots of those things. You had to figure out tricks. You had to, do things. I had, put my finger there, and I tried to, didn't go over top of where my finger was, mm-hmm. and that kind of stuff. So you just had to find little tricks to help me to overcome those things. I don't think you were ever in any danger. You never ran out in the street, any of those types of things.
Thank you,
But
Jesus.
your plaits may have probably been a little crooked.
Oh my God.
Parting your hair or something.
Yeah, there's this picture of me, and I don't know. It had to have been
It was
second or third grade or
yes,
something like that. And my
yeah.
mom gave me these two pigtails, right?
And they was crooked.
And they were so crooked.
Yes.
But not only were they crooked, they had bows at the ends of them. And one of the bows was higher than the other. Like,
Yes.
I look at this picture and I laugh. It's a cute photo, but it is so janky.
So, things like that I was unable to do. So you had a lot of creative hairstyles when you were growing up.
And my mom straightened my hair one time.
Burnt you on the back of your neck, yes.
On the back of my neck and on the top of my forehead.
Yes.
So as you can see, my hair is very curly. And this is my natural curl. Like, there's no product or anything in this. So imagine, like, not 45-year-old hair, but like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9-year-old hair. I had very tangly hair. Yes. So then you're talking about like one of them, like a real hot comb, y'all. Like a real hot comb that you put on an actual like stove. Not the stoves that you see at the hair salon, the little metal ones, but like the actual stove you got at your house. Okay. And this sucker is wailing hot. Okay. Yes. Wailing hot. So it's the back of the neck first. So now I'm sitting like this the whole time. And then she go for the front. And I know she didn't mean it. But it just happened. So then I had to wear bangs for quite some time because
you got cute with bangs.
I'm just cute in general because I got good genes.
You were fine. I never did it again.
But it was, and again, for me, it just is like the normal succession. Like, I tell people that story and they're like, oh my gosh, Kristen, didn't you feel abused? No, like, it just was the nature. Like, it was kind of just a regular thing for me. Like, something was always happening. I didn't care. What was I supposed to know? It just seemed like regular stuff.
But I did all the things, like I volunteered at your school. And none of your teachers thought of. None
of my teachers knew.
I volunteered at Samantha School. I used to go and make copies for teachers and all that kind of stuff. So nobody knew. Every once in a while, I'd make a mistake. I think I made some copies of something and I put the stuff up to my chest. Mm-hmm. And when I handed them over, I had a pink sweater and I had nothing but blue ink all down the front of my shirt. But I tried to be as normal of a person as possible. Because inside, I always felt like I wasn't normal. Mm-hmm. So I tried to, I always tried to portray that I was normal like everybody else. Mm-hmm. But, inside, I always knew that I wasn't like everybody else.
Okay. So how did faith help to shape how you navigated, either early on or even now, how you navigate like the blindness, especially like in moments of like frustration or when you're afraid, like when you fail, or like in moments of like comparison?
Well, I didn't have a lot of. I didn't have any of it when I was growing up. Mm-hmm. Like we didn't go to church. I was probably exposed to, but it was never part of our household when we were growing up.
My friend Charles said normal is overrated.
Yes. But I didn't have it. Like I said, my parents didn't go to church. Mm-hmm. So I didn't have that. But when you were little, Refreshing Springs Church of
God in Christ.
In Christ had this blue old prison bus.
Yes, Lord.
That they would drive around to the neighborhood and pick up all the kids and take them to church. And a little 5-year-old came home and told me that I needed Jesus. Mm. So
the audacity of that 5-year-old.
So, I went to church and there was a very white Baptist church.
Yeah.
First Baptist Church of New
Carrollton.
So I went to that church and then I found a program called Awanas. So, so I had some faith. I got a chance to know what the word was about. I found a Bible that was large print.
Mm-hmm.
Started to read that things. I got baptized on Easter. I think it was 1985. I got baptized on Easter Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I started to see myself differently. I had someone else besides me that I knew could help. So it helped with my self esteem because there were lots of times when there were lots of struggles. Trying to find a job, nobody would
Mm-hmm.
hire you. All the things I went trying. At this point, I had two kids.
Yep. Because my
Um,
my ragtail sister was born.
I had two kids, wasn't able to find a job, but I found things to do. I became one of the leaders in the Awana Club. So I was teaching to the small kids. I was helping with activities. I had a Girl Scout troop.
Yes,
Then
Girl Scout.
I had two Girl Scout troops. So, I found ways to make myself, and, at that time, try what I thought was being normal, a normal person raising two kids, doing all those things. I saw what all other parents were doing, and I wanted to do those things. So I
Mm-hmm.
figured out ways until no one knew. No one knew I couldn't see because I figured out. I overcame things. My kids both learned how to read really, really early. I taught both of them how to read before they went to school. So if a note came home, they had to spell the
We
words
had to
out
read.
for
We
me.
had to read the notes,
You
y'all.
had to read it out or spell it out. If you didn't know a word, spell it to me. And they learned those words. So they both are excellent readers. Um, but those kind of things never, I was not always happy about having to do those types of things, but you make do with what you have.
Mm-hmm.
And it was amazing that once I really found God, it was amazing how things just made a way.
Mm-hmm.
It was always a way. It was always something I overcome. There was always somebody there to help. Um, so it helped to get through a lot of stuff because there were some dark days.
And wonderful, wonderful segue. So let's talk about some trauma points in your life. Many of you have kind of heard my mom's story from my mouth, so I'm gonna kind of let her tell it since she's the one that kind of experienced it. So let's talk about what the how the trauma affected the blindness or the other way around. Like how did you like deal with all of that?
Well, for maybe those who didn't know, my husband was very abusive. Um, Attempted to take my life twice. Um,
I
and
don't
a
know
lot of
about the
people
one time.
say, yeah, you weren't home. We lived on Hamilton Avenue,
Really?
and he strangled me to almost unconsciousness. My husband
What?
suffered from mental illness. He was very abused as a child. He had been sexually assaulted as a child. He had been in and out of prison for lots of things. He was heroin addict. He was alcoholic, and that was the family business.
Mm-hmm.
His both his parents were alcoholics. All of his uncles were drug addicts. So like I said, it was the family business. Is what all his family did. So he suffered a lot of stuff. And I think one of the reasons that I stayed is because I didn't think I could do it alone.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have a job and I tried. I mean, I've gone to school. I had a certificate for accounting, all those types of things. I've done all this work to find myself a skill, but no one would hire me because, they didn't understand how I could do the job and not be able to see.
Yeah.
Back then there was some technology out, but it was very, very expensive and very hard to come by. And most jobs wouldn't buy those types of things for you. I think I stayed because I just didn't know how I would have survived
Mm-hmm.
after. And I didn't want to go back home.
Mm-hmm.
I probably stayed too long. And I also knew that he was suffering from a lot of trauma in his own life. I gave him excuses for his behavior.
Yeah.
So, and I think that it had maybe the vision not been a part of it, I would have been maybe a little stronger to overcome that
Mm-hmm.
or to be able to manage it on my own. But once the last time that he took my life, I would, and it's crazy because at that time I was working. I
Mm-hmm.
had found a job.
Yep.
I was a sole supporter in our
Were
house.
you emerge? Were
I was
you
at Emerge. I
okay?
was doing accounts payable, accounts receivable, payroll, and I was the breadwinner in the house. And I think he saw me growing and maybe leaving,
Mm-hmm.
and that was something that he could not handle. So, and he told me, if I can't have it, can't nobody have it.
Yep.
So, but I think once I got past that drama, it took a long time. There's still moments where, um, because I was stabbed 11 times, and it happened while I was asleep. So there are moments when if I have to sleep with noise.
Mm-hmm.
There's
She
always
always got had
noise.
TV on, y'all. Like always, I can't do it.
So there are moments where even now, where if the TV goes off, I immediately wake up.
Mm-hmm.
There are moments through the stabbing that I don't remember, and the therapist said that's your mind taking care of you
Okay.
because the drama was too overwhelming that your mind doesn't want you to remember.
Okay.
So, and it probably helped me to heal because I don't know what happened in those few moments.
Mm-hmm.
But I overcame those things. I ended up staying at that job for a while, and it was so disappointing because then they moved to a location where I couldn't get to work.
Yeah.
So I ended up having to give up that job, and I think I was unemployed for maybe a year, maybe 2 years, and then I found BISM,
Mm-hmm.
and that was a whole new opportunity, a whole new world, an opportunity for me to grow. I went back to college, got my AA degree in business. So I really took off
Good.
there because I felt like I was normal. I was treated normal. Everybody there is blind. Not
Not
everybody,
everybody, but
but
a good portion of the
here was
people.
here was an organization that celebrated my blindness,
Mm-hmm.
made me feel as though the blindness was no more of a characteristic of mine, no more different than the color of my hair. It was just something about me. It wasn't who I was. It was just one characteristic that I had.
Mm-hmm.
So I was able to flourish in that environment, which
Okay.
is why I'm still there after 25 years.
25 years at one job is a long time.
People don't stay at jobs like that anymore.
They don't. Well, I mean, a lot of the judges at my job, they've been there a long time. But yes, you don't really find people that stay in places that
Yes.
long anymore. Um,
And everywhere I go, there's some doubts. I mean, when I first came to church, and I love Elder Merritt, but when me and Elder Merritt first met, and I tried to teach Sunday school, she wouldn't let me do anything because she didn't know what I could do, and she wouldn't let me show her.
mhm.
So there was some confrontations. There was some little scuffles, but once she gave me the opportunity, then all the plays started to come, and all the big productions that we had for Children's Day. She turned that over to me. Just take it and go. So once I got her to believe in what I could do, then it opened up a whole range of things.
See, okay.
So for the most part, everybody in churches is pretty cool. They still wave across the sanctuary. So
Hey, Sister
and they see me
Donna.
with the cane in my hand, but they still wave across the floor. So
Next time, stick your cane out and let them see how I feel. So let's kind of continue on like the faith space. So talk about a time where you felt like God showed up to you in like a deeply personal way. Like,
when
okay,
I got stabbed 11 times. I did not get, not one major organ was hit. He attempted to cut my throat.
come on, Jesus.
He stabbed me twice in the stomach. Um, he stabbed me across my hands, my arms. It had to be nothing but God that saved me from not having any major physical issues. throughout that process. So, because, I was asleep. So he had full range of my body, and he told me, he said he had gotten up that night and he found a butcher knife and he laid it down and he waited for me to go to sleep. When he went back to the kitchen, he could not find that knife. He looked all over the kitchen, couldn't find it. So the only knife he could find was a smaller knife, which is what he
The steak
used,
knife, right?
which was a steak knife. So even he said, it had to be God, because if I had had that knife, I don't think you would have been here.
And the God not only saved her in that moment, but he saved me too, because I was out of the house
Yes.
when it happened. I was in, this would have been 10th grade.
You were an overnight
I
shut
was,
in.
yeah, they was trying to get us to wear uniforms at the school. And we wasn't about that life at 10th grade. So we decided to shut in, and all of those types of things. And when I think about that moment, I say too, like, had we been in a house, or had I been in a house, I would have jumped in the middle of it. Like, I was at that stage where I was kind of a little angry, just because I was old enough to recognize the abuse at this point. So, whenever he started mouthing off, I started mouthing off, and that's just where we were. So, I say God saved two people that night. He saved her and he saved me, because I was either going to be involved or I was going to jail, one way or the other. And wild horses couldn't drag me from this woman. Yeah, yeah. We bless the Lord. Come on, clap for Jesus, because Jesus saves still. Amen.
And I think another moment that he's still helping me through is when I broke my ankle.
Yeah. First of all, let me get this out about her and this ankle, because I trust these people at this job. Okay, I trust these people with my mother and her safety, and her boss let her fall.
She didn't let me fall. We were walking, and I had gotten out the car, and she had given me directions to go to the front door of the hotel, and I must have misstepped
Mm-hmm.
and came off the curb. The curb was curved. Ooh,
Just like the water bottle.
yeah. The curb was somewhat curved, so my foot slid off, and then there was those cement barriers that stops your car from going too far,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and my ankle hit that, and that's when it broke. And that was quite devastating, because at that moment, once I had the surgery and all that, I broke all three of the bones in the ankle. I dislocated the ankle and all that kind of stuff. When I was left with not being able to walk, it sent me into a deep depression.
Mm-hmm.
And even after the ankle had healed, the fear
Mm-hmm.
of falling
Mm-hmm.
became very overwhelming. And I lost a lot of the independence that I had. Wouldn't go anywhere. I wouldn't do anything by myself.
At
I mean,
all.
it was, and I traveled. I went to Denver to visit Kristen when she lived in Denver. I went to Atlanta. I used to go on bowling tournaments and fly all the time. I used to travel all the time by myself. And I have struggled to get that independence back. And I think God is finding ways to keep me going, to force me to get out there and do more things, and get out and try to overcome that fear. It is nowhere debilitating as it was,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm still working through it. It's still a little struggle, because there's still some awkwardness, there's still some pain there. But this too shall pass, and he will help me to
Come on,
overcome
preach that,
this
honey. Come on,
as
preach.
well. So,
Yes. Hallelujah. We bless the Lord. And I get excited, being able to see the journey that you go through, because I've been with you through a lot of the you
yes.
coming and visit, and we going and doing stuff, and you kind of walking independently, and things like that, versus after the ankle situation, y'all, I have shoulder. I wish I could take my shirt off and show y'all. She done dug in my shoulder. No, I'm just playing. I'm just playing. To, like, even in places and spaces where like she knows the terrain, it still is super uncomfortable. The church is one of those places. Like, I remember when my mom first came to the church, first couple times she walked in the church with the cane because, she's trying to get familiar with, where the walls are and, where the people be standing and doors and all that kind of stuff. And then after that, she don't bring the cane out no more. After this situation, mama don't not walk through the church without the cane. So, though it's a struggle, the independence is coming back day by day.
And I
So,
stayed away from church just because of that. Just I knew I was behaving differently, so I knew other people would. Well, I thought other people would see that difference in me. So I didn't want anybody to see me like that. So I stayed away for a long time. So
Pastor Brian said, "Listen, Pastor." um, and we I am happy that we go to a place where it's not just me that tries to kind of get my mom to come back into the house. Y'all who follow me on social media know all the time I'm posting all the time. Like, it's Sunday morning. It's a day to get up and give God what's due unto him. Get your butt to church. Um, Sometimes hearing it from me may not always be the most apropos way of hearing it, but there are other people who call her or text her and be like, "Hey, where you at?" Or if she missing a couple Sundays, then it's, "Hey, where you been? Is you coming?" So, we your pastor say, "Yes, we missed our Steelers fan."
I cried last night.
We're not gonna talk about football. So let's talk about BISM, right?
Yeah.
So you've worked at BISM for 25 years. Let's talk about what you first did when you got the BISM and kind of like your progression as to first tell the people what BISM stands for and what BISM does.
BISM stands for Blind Industries and Services of Maryland. It is over 100 years old as a business. At one point, it was called Maryland Manufacturing or something like that. But they've gone through a couple of different names. But Blind Industries is the number one employer of blind people. As our mission says, we change what it means to be blind.
All right, mission statement.
Yes.
Okay.
And business, BISM is a manufacturing and rehabilitation. It's a nonprofit organization.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the things that we do is we have a sewing department, which blind people sew because I'm a trainer. I train blind people to sew. We make military uniforms. We also have a paper and chemical department where we supply paper goods, chemicals, um, legal pads, and those types of things for all state agencies in the entire state of Maryland.
And I get paid and I get excited. When I first saw BISM paper at my job, I sent my mom a picture, though she couldn't see the picture, but I was like, "Hey, Mom, look, BISM paper." Okay, continue. I'm sorry.
We handle state agencies, we handle colleges, we handle prisons. We actually make packets for prisoners to buy them in their commissary, where we're putting soap and shampoo and all those kind of things in packages. We also do, we have military supply stores on military bases here in this side of Maryland, in DC, and we have one at Fort Knox.
Okay.
So and we also have a facility in Salisbury, Maryland, which is a sewing and a cutting operation, which cuts material for our agency as well as other agencies that have federal contracts to make military uniforms of all different kinds. And then we have a facility in Raleigh. And our Raleigh facility also sews, but they also make things like pillows and some other types of things. And usually these items are going into prisons or state hospitals and things of that nature. So anything that has to do with the state of Maryland, we supply them with all types of goods.
Yes. Okay. All right. So when you first started working at Bism, what were you doing?
Um, I first came to BISM to get some training.
Mm-hmm.
I was training to be a customer service person. That job fell through, and they were somewhat impressed with me. So I came back and volunteered as a teacher to help teach people on the computer. And then they ended up hiring me, and the first thing I did for them was job readiness. I taught job readiness skills for blind people. And then eventually I became independent living instructor, which is teaching people, cooking, cleaning, shopping, all those types of things. Um, and then we started to do things with youth, and I loved it and really enjoyed that so much that I became youth coordinator for business. So I created all the youth programs that we had at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Business went through some financial troubles, so part of our department was laid off. God saved me. I was in my boss's office with the paperwork already
You can't
signed,
tell me God not good.
and the president called her and said, "Tell John I got a job for her."
President of the company.
So I went out onto the production floor, which I ran. I was one of the operators of our cutting machines that would cut material for our sewing departments. So I did that for a while, and then we moved over to actually sewing the jackets. Never sewed before in my life. Learned how to sew. Became a trainer of sewing, and then when the ankle happened, I needed to find something else to do. So then I became a recruiter. So now I am the sole recruiter that handles all people coming into all of our programs. I'm still the trainer, but I also assist with doing a little bit of counseling and still doing job readiness with all of our students that come through both of our
Y'all
programs.
can't tell me God ain't real. Can't make me believe that God not real with this whole, even if nothing else happened, this whole story right here. God is real. Yes, I can feel him in. Come on now. Come on. Y'all know that song. Anyway. All right. So, and now you, oh no. Didn't you just say that?
Yeah, so I'm a recruiter.
You're a recruiter.
So anytime I get all the phone calls, I am the keeper of all entries to the program. So I get phone calls from people who are at the end of their rope. People I've become blind. I've only been blind for a year. My life is over. I don't know what to do with myself. Can you help? I get all those kind of phone calls. I have seniors who are coming in who are being told they can't live alone because they can't see anymore. I'm the one that they all talk to. So sometimes there are some really heavy, heavy conversations, lots of tears, lots of people calling me, and there are days when I have to sit back and cut me on some spirituals or read me a scripture because sometimes, not always having an answer for people when they're at their worst is sometimes difficult. It's a difficult place to be sometimes. But I help people to know that there is a quote light at the end of the tunnel, that there is a life that you can live successfully as a blind person, and to be not afraid to say blind. Blind is not a dirty word. It's not a four-letter word. It's actually five, but
I'm
it's
done.
not a dirty word.
I'm done. Good night, y'all. This interview is over. Dirty word. Okay.
I'm proud to say I'm a blind person because there's nothing bad to say. Because I'm blind, that doesn't mean I'm any less of a person, and that I can enjoy life just like everybody else.
We cruise. We go on vacation.
Yes.
What else do we do? My mama eat my food. She's always been my taster for, like desserts and stuff that I've done. Um, so like living a full life is still available.
Yes. With
So
the proper training, employment, life, all those things is possible. It's possible.
mhm.
And with God, all things are possible.
Hey, come on now, shout! y'all, I can't run across the screen because then I'd knock her over. But y'all know running emoji, running emoji. Okay. Um, how do you think like all of what you've gone through has helped to kind of redefine like your independence and your strength, or even like success throughout like the journey that is your life so far?
Um, you have to tell I'm gonna say, most of my blonde life before I got to BISM, I had no training.
Mm-hmm.
I had nobody to tell me that life was possible. So I had to tell myself,
Mm.
you know, and at that point, I had God in my life, but I had to tell myself this is possible. Or I had to fight. I had to go out there and find ways to do things for myself. When I didn't have a job, and you guys were home, I created a camp in Drew Hill Park. I just went and bought a bunch of stuff, sat in the middle of the park, and all of a sudden I created a camp for kids to come to every day. I always found stuff to do with myself to help me to keep moving, because I knew if I didn't find something that I was going to drift back into a dark place that I didn't want to go.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to continue to tell myself that this was possible. When I went back to college, I had a full-time job and was going back to school.
Bruh.
And there were times when I didn't get home because of transportation until midnight and had to get back up
Crucial.
3, 4 o'clock in the morning and go to work. Um, and again, God on my side on some of those nights. And I had to keep telling myself, there's an end to this. There's a reward at the end of this. You have to keep going. And I love my mama, but sometimes she was not the person who pushed me. She's telling me all the time, why are you fighting so hard?
Mm.
Why do you go out and look for a job for people to tell you that you can't have it? Why did you buy a house? That's a whole lot of, why are you doing all those things? And I said, but mama, would you say this to me if I wasn't blind?
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't say it to either one of my sisters. So, I have a right to have all those things that everybody else has. And blindness shouldn't be the reason why I couldn't have it.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of it was anger, just to prove people wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to prove people wrong that I could have all those things that everybody else has. So sometimes, it was a lot of anger to prove a point. I had to prove a point to everybody else. So,
Mm. All right. What's his name? That got swallowed up in the whale.
Jonah,
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, fitting, ain't it?
let me out of the well. Please let me out
Fitting,
of the
ain't
well.
it? So when you look back now, I told the people if they had questions that they could ask. I was looking, in the chat to see if anybody had any questions. But if when you look back now, um, if you had a chance to talk to your younger self, what message would you want to leave for yourself to kind of help you push through what is coming ahead?
Um, I probably would have said, love yourself. You're special. You're amazing. You have what it takes, because I didn't think I had it.
Mm-hmm.
So to go back and tell myself, you can have a life that you want. It's out there. Just keep pushing, keep pushing. No matter what anybody else tells you, keep pushing. You can have it all. Because I didn't think for a long time I could have any of it. So I go back and tell myself, it's there. It's in your reach. It's possible.
Amen.
And love yourself, because there were times when I didn't love myself very much.
Well, we thank God. Like I tell y'all hear me say all the time, or those of you that like go to the church or follow me on any like social media spaces, y'all hear me say all the time that you know God could not have given me a better person to be my mom than this lady right here. You looking for the water?
Yeah.
Right there. Um, and it's a lot of what you guys have heard today that have made me feel that way. Like in some spaces, some people would have fallen apart. and would have given up, but my mom like continued to push forward and to do all the things to do all the things that you know that people said that she wasn't able to do, even like family wise. Like my mom came to just about everything I did as a kid. When it was award ceremonies and all of those types of things. When I got to high school and was playing in a band, I think it might have been only one time in the whole 4 years that I played in band that you might have missed a concert. Um, as a youth leader, my mom like very rarely ever misses an opportunity to hear me preach. Those types of things. So you talk about the support and things like that. In the moments where she didn't have it, she made sure that we had it. And we try to do the same for her to make sure that she's just so good. Pastor Brian said, "Are you available to be a motivational speaker for our youth group?"
Of course.
All right, Amber, Jason, y'all heard that. Sign up for youth church. Um, Might need some motivational speaking for the adults too. Amen.
But this October is Blindness Awareness Month, which is why I decided to do the podcast in this month, and I think it's the 14th is White Cane Awareness. And just know if you ever walking and you see a blind person, go up and say hi. Start a conversation.
Don't scare them though.
Don't touch them though.
Don't touch them either.
Never take a blind person's cane. That's a fight. That's a fight. And it is called a cane. It is not called a stick. So we're all out here. We're just trying to live our best life.
And I also want y'all to know for my buddies out there that partake in the stuff that they make from wheat, that they sit in the barrels for a little while and they wait for it to ferment and they come out the spokes at the bar. Bism has a beer called the Blind Spot. And I actually had a chance to go to the event where they debuted it. And you were able to buy like these little, they call them shot glasses. These are Collins glasses that have the logo for the beer on it.
And it gets brewed once a year.
Mm-hmm.
It's a brewery down by the Raven Stadium. I can't think of what the name of it is. Checkers.
Yeah, I think that's what it's called.
Checkers Bureau. The proceeds from the beer goes towards helping to pay for programs for our youth and our seniors. And this time, with the current governmental things that are going on right now, a lot of programs and a lot of funding that will go towards training and equipment and things of that nature are all getting cut. So a lot of blind people are losing opportunities to get training and to get job readiness and to do those types of things, because right now a lot of that is just being eliminated. So we have these fundraisers. We just had a fantastic golf tournament that raised quite a bit of money. So our beer goes to help our kids have lots of programs so that they can get some of the blindness training at an early enough age so that they can go on and be successful.
I have a question for you, Mom. Brian asks, how do you feel about blind representation in the media?
Most people who played parts in movies that played those parts were not blind. Now, there was a movie, and I can't think of what the name of it was. It was on Netflix. All of the cast were blind. So it was wonderful to know that, those are opportunities. And there are some actors who they wouldn't call themselves blind. They would say they were legally blind or low vision. There have been some actors and stuff, but there's not a lot of parts and things that actual blind people get to play. Magoo was one of the terrible things. Mr. Magoo was blind, and they thought it was quite funny. He just running and everything. So we had a protest one time against the movie that came out. Mr. Magoo, because that was just a terrible representation.
What?
On the Golden Girls, they had one. Rose's sister was blind. She went and got a dog, and she's counting her steps through the airport. What do you mean counting those steps? You can't count steps because then stuff gonna be in the way, and then you get. So no, I'm not happy with a lot of the stuff that they do because it's usually a sighted person trying to say what blind people do or how they live their lives.
There's a Marvel character, Daredevil,
Yes,
who is blind. Um, I don't know if I don't think the actor is blind.
no, and most of them are. But there, at the last National Federation of Blinds convention, they had quite a few people who produced movies, starred in movies, doing documentaries. So there are some blind representations out there. The technology that is just flying from everywhere is allowing blind people to really become involved in so many parts of society now where we couldn't do it before.
So let's talk about some of the things that you use to help you like read, or like my mom said that we're avid readers. My mother is a very avid reader. How many books did you read last year?
Last year wasn't a good year. I think it was. No, I did. I had 52 because I do this thing called the 52 book challenge. So you read a book a week, and it fits prompt. So I finished the prompt. I finished the challenge. So I did do 50. I'm already at almost 50 books right now.
So 50 books in October.
Yes.
So
I'll reach my goal this year. But there have been times when I've read almost 100 books in a year. I don't compare myself to anybody else. But how I read books is I listen to audiobooks. There are several places. There is the Library for the Blind, which you can either get books sent to you on these cartridges that you can listen to, or there's an app called Bart, and you download books and you listen to them. There's also Audible. Audible's really big now that sighted people want to come along with the rest of us and listen to books. So, now Audible is really big now. So most books always come out with an audio version of them. So, you do that. Apple is one of the biggest promoters of accessibility for blind people. So my phone has all kinds of bells and whistles on it that allows me to do everything that Krista can do on her iPhone. I could probably do on my iPhone.
Sometimes a little better than me.
There are apps now, Be My Eyes, CNA Eyes, which can take a picture of a piece of paper and it'll read what's on the paper to me. My computer at my office has reading software called NVDA, which is navigating voice something. But it reads everything that's on the screen. So it allows me to be able to use a computer the same way anyone else would use a computer. There's also software called JAWS that is also a screen reader. And it doesn't give me access to everything. Like PDFs are really big, is a big problem for me because PDFs have to be done in a way where the software can read it. And sometimes most PDFs are not done in that way. So, hopefully a lot of things will change in that. But, for the most part, there's not too many things that I can't access through a lot of the technology. With the meta glasses, a lot of blind people use meta glasses and that helps a lot. There are a lot of different companies that are now making those types of glasses just for blind people. So if I had those glasses, I could describe what was in the room. I could have it read something. I could send a voicemail, an email just by the glasses and telling it what to do. So the technology is really out there and is really opening a lot of doors. And then there are things you just do naturally. Like there's no technology that can help me tell when a piece of chicken is done. I have to learn how to do that non-visually. I'm putting a fork and I'm putting a thermometer and I know the texture, all those types of things. So there are some things technology can't do for you that you have to learn how to do non-visually. So.
My mom used to cook for us all the time, and I'm still alive.
Yes.
No salmonella, never poison.
Yes.
We bless God for that. We must go. Anything else you want to leave with the people, Ma?
No, just know we are, we're just like everybody else. We just see things in a different way.
Amen. Well, Mom, thanks for being a part of the show. This
Yes.
was good. We have to have you back for something else.
Yes.
But as always, I love my mom. And I say mom for the benefit of y'all. I literally do call my mom my parental unit. And the reason I call her that is because my mom has been a little bit of everything that I have needed in very different stages of my life and continues to be that for me. So, she's a special person. Special sometimes like short yellow bus special, but special nonetheless. Okay. um, so I thank you for being a part of the show. My mom's usually always in the comments. You're getting a lot of thank yous. Pastor Brian said, "Mom is so special." Your sister said, "Amen. Good job, Jonna." Miss Francine, hey Franny, said, "Thank you, Miss J. Awesomeness." I know Amber up here said it's always good to see you in the house. So thank you guys for all your comments and your participation. Just know, if you ever had any questions about, what it's like for my mom to do things or see things, by all means, just walk up to her and ask her. Y'all ain't got to ask me to ask her. Ask her.
Yeah.
Brian said, "Oh, thanks, Brian. Best episode ever."
Oh, that's so nice.
So Brian trying to get on your good side.
It don't work.
Sister Karen gave you lots of claps.
Yeah. Sister Karen, I'm reading my homework.
So y'all, my mom is in school. She is taking a Bible college course. What's the course called? Self-care in turbulent times.
Yes.
So y'all pray for her because she got to write a paper. And she gonna write it all by herself.
Absolutely.
Bless the Lord. But thank you guys for being a part of the show. Thank you for all of your comments. Thank you for the support that you give the show. Please make sure that you share, direct some other people if you know anyone that may need access to blind services.
Yes.
Call me. Call her. Get in contact with her, and she'll be able to direct them to some readily available services and some things that they can be involved in that'll help them live the quality of life that they should be able to live. Don't forget to mark your calendars for the end of the season show, which is going to be November the 14th. That is our After Dark show. I have brand new guests that are going to be on the show with me for that show. It's After Dark, y'all. So no, it's we pushing the envelope just a little bit with that show, and that'll mark the end of season 2 for Coffee and Tea. I cannot believe that we have gotten to a season 2. This has been a really interesting ride, and I appreciate the fact that you guys continue to ride with me. So with that said, you got anything else you want to say hi to anybody out there?
Hi, Steelers. I still love you. I'm still a nation till I
die. No, we didn't say still the football.
A nation till I die.
Y'all press your hands toward the screen so that we can have prayer service right here for my mama.
And weekends coming up. Go to church. We have 2 services this Sunday, so go to church.
If you have nowhere to go.
Yes, New Creation.
Please come on down to New Creation Christian Church, 5401 Frankfort Avenue. My pastor, who's in the comments, will be happy to pastor you. Amen. Since I'm going ahead and plugging the church, if you don't have anything to do on the 26th, we are having a Soil to Sanctuary kind of event. There's going to be a free food market that's going to have vegetables and things, and then a ton of other stuff, a petting zoo, a DJ, some stuff for the kids to do. just a bunch of stuff, some cooking demonstrations. Like, you just don't want to miss this opportunity. One of the things that we say in New Creation is don't do life alone. And here's an opportunity for you to meet some people, get some community engagement, come out, have some fun, and get some available resources as well. It's going to be food trucks and vendors and all sorts of things. So it is a free event. You can go to my stories to be able to see that. You can go to the church's webpage or Facebook page. Just look for New Creation. New Creation Christian Church, Baltimore, Maryland, and you'll be able to see the flyer there as well. So I think that's all for my announcements. Just got to plug the stuff. What date is that? It's October 26th, so it's the last Sunday of this month for that event. So all right, y'all. Thanks a bunch. I think that's it.
Yep.
Say good night, Ma.
Good night. Good night.